loves, welcome back to another video. Welcome back to my channel. Please do not forget to subscribe, like, and also click the notification bell so that every time I do post you are notified. With the title of the video, you can see it's chit chat, get ready with me. So I'll be doing my makeup, basically doing my makeup, and then also I'll be giving you a young story time backstory of how I literally became a blessee. Unexpected. In my books I'd say it's a blessee, but yeah, unexpected. So with me I'll be having, what do you call this thing, but I put it in a glass. I'm having extreme. Yeah, extreme. I'll put it in a glass. I don't want to have it from the bottle. But yeah, this is the story of how I became a blessee, and it was so not expected. But because I could not really follow through with the whole blessee life, I just, yeah, you'll get as I'm telling you the story. So it starts here. Let me just move everything so I can see myself. So the story starts when hey, this life no balance, one thing's for certain. So what happened is that I remember there was a day whereby I didn't really have much of plans. My plans were to just, do my hair. I just wanted to relax my hair and, and not do much. So I noticed that I did not have, oh my gosh, I think I put it on. I did not have relaxer. So where I stay, there's a clicks nearby. It's like a walking distance. So I decided, I'm like, you know what, let me take a young walk while we at it. I remember at that time I had not showered. I just, like the important parts in the basin, and then brushed my teeth, and then I went out. So I was wearing, and the things that I was wearing on that day, I was literally as I remember quite clearly, I was wearing leggings, and then I wore a baggy top, my slippers, and a doek, because my hair was not done, so it was bad. Like I had said, I wanted to relax my hair. Sharp. Let me just go in with another layer of yeah. So fine, I walked to Clicks. I walked to Clicks. Fine. So I had on my headsets, like I always do. When I walk, I always have on my headsets just to avoid, people just trying to talk to you and all the other shenanigans. Fine. So fine. As I'm walking back, so fine, I got my things at Clicks, and now I'm walking back from Clicks, coming back. Cool. There's this guy. Mind you, I was looking crusty as fuck. Mind you, let's not forget about that. I was looking crusty as fuck. So cool. What do you call this? As I'm walking, and X6 pulls up, and I'm like, oh, okay, which one is this one? Which one is this one? Cool. I think I got in because I'm like, you know what, I still need to walk back home. I'm a bit tired, so let me just take this lift. And it was a hot day, so I'm like, you know what, let me just take the lift going back. Fine. I hop in. Fine. He introduces himself. I also introduce myself, young chit chat, what you've been up to, where you're going, wara. So for story's sake, we're gonna name him Daddy. In my books, yeah, I'll say Daddy. So fine, Daddy is like, so I tell him, I'm like, no, I'm from, what do you call this thing? I'm from Clicks. I wanna, relax my hair. And yeah, there's not much that I'm really gonna do today, And then he's like, oh, okay. So that, because from where I stay to to clicks is not, it's not far, it's like a walking distance, so obviously the drive is very short. So fine, he drops me off, I show him where I stay. Now he drops me off. As we're outside by the gate, he pulls out a stack of cash, hundreds and 200s, and I'm like, okay, I know how this one goes, but I'm like, okay, let me just keep quiet and watch. And he gave me 2.3, and then he's like, yeah, it was around 2.3. And then he's like, please don't go and do your hair yourself, please go and do your hair at the salon, and then also grab lunch afterwards, and then come back. He was driving, he said he's gonna drive to PLK because he had a few business errands he needs to attend to, and he's gonna come back only after 2 days, and he will see me when he comes back. I'm like, okay, hi, okay, thanks. Maybe like I remember later that day I decided, I'm like, you know what, I ended up doing a straight up, you know, because I really did not know what to do. I just wanted to relax my hair. Just ended up doing a straight up sharp. After then, fine. After 2 days, mind you, we were not talking much over the phone. Obviously, at that point in time, before he gave me the cash, we exchanged numbers. But before he came back, he drove back from PLK, coming back to Pretoria. We didn't really talk much. It was him just calling, checking up on me, are you okay, wada wada, and I'm like, cool. And then I sent him a picture of the hair I had did, and then he's like, yo, it looks so cute, I didn't expect you to do this. I'm like, no, I didn't want anything dramatic, you know, just something simple. He's like, oh, okay, anything you want, it's fine. Sharp. When he drives back, I remember it was still early in the morning, so I was a bit busy. I remember I had woken up. It was happened quite some time that I had woken up. Fine. So now he's like, to me, he calls me. Hi, obviously I answer the phone. He calls me, fine, and then I'm like, hi, how are you? Good. He's like, no, I'm on my way back. Till this far I don't have much of plans, so when I arrive, I'm going to call you, and then can we go out for breakfast, since ever since we met, because we haven't like really went out. Fine. And then he's like, where do you want to go for breakfast? I'm like, for me, mac and bean is the baby girl, because I love the Big Ben. The Ben, it's an egg Benedict type of thing. Big Ben, yeah. So fine, I'm like, mac and bean plus the hot chocolate is just to die for. Fine. And then he's like, oh, okay, cool. Please also, if you're not yet, you have not taken a bath, please do bath, and I'll be there in the next 2 hours. I'm like, cool, sharp. Mind you guys, this guy looks old. He looks old. This man is old. He's stronger. Daddy is stronger, so he looks roughly like, I would say somebody that's what, going to their 50s, you know, somebody that's going into their 50s. Hi, but umdala, guys, umdala, like you can see it in his face, umdala. Like you can see it, you can't even miss it, and he's dark. You know how Tongas are, dark, then you need to have that big nose, but yeah, I fine. And then I can't remember the breakfast day. I can't really remember as to what I was wearing, but I remember he was wearing very casually. So one thing that confused me is the fact that his dress code was very casual. It was never like your label. Like, he was a casual guy. I fine. I mean, I call up a good dress code. Fine. I think Lena was just looking. I think I put on a jean with a jean with a white shirt and sandals. I can't really remember, guys. Fine. Moving on. Hi, fine. We go out to breakfast. We talk. Guy, vele. Guy, you know, nice conversation. Siyakhuluma kumnandi. I'm like, huh. Besides him looking old, being old, not even looking, being old, like I can talk to him, you know? Fine. I was enjoying myself. Fine. And then after that, after the breakfast, he's like, how often do you travel? I'm like, yo, I can't really say very often, but when I do get the chance, I do go. But it's just also a matter of saving up and yada 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 yada. He's like, okay, cool. So I'm fine. He's like, no, because I just got back to Pretoria, let me attend to my business and then I will call you once I'm done sharp. And then finally he attends to his business, but it ended so late whereby I remember he told me, he's like, yo, my meeting ended so late, I did not expect it, but are you fine? Are you still okay? And I'm like, nah, I'm fine. I'm okay, you know, can't really complain. I'm okay, I'm fine. But how did your business meeting go? Fine, we talk. That time, guys, I haven't even thought of nothing. I'm just conversing with an old man. Fine. He's like, I'm gonna come through and see you before I go and sleep because tomorrow I have an early meeting. Cool. He comes to see me. After seeing me, he's like, are you not hungry? He's like, I believe in feeding my woman. I'm like, my woman, we are there? My woman, are we there? Are we there? Already we are at my woman. I'm like, yeah, I'm a bit hungry, but it's not like, you know, I can't wait until tomorrow, you know. And then he's like, no. What are you feeling? I'm like, hey, because taking into consideration the fact that you are exhausted, you're from your meeting. I think a young drive-through, which is the nearest place, is McDonald's. He's like, is okay. And then he's like, McDonald's. I'm like, yeah, it's the nearest place, you know. It's like the first thing that you could get hold of. He's like, no. He's like, don't you want fish? I'm like, the only fish place that I know of here is Ocean Basket. And then he's like, let's go to Ocean Basket, then they'll get you a takeaway. I'm like, okay, daddy. Cool. We drive to Ocean Basket. That time now, remember the first day he came with a the X6, the BMW. Pull up with the first time I met him. We pull up with the BMW X6, and then now he came with the Legend 50, and I'm like, okay, no, fine. So when we went to the breakfast type of date, get to know date, he did disclose. He's like, no, this is what I do. I'm in construction, you know, tenderpreneur, wara. You know, I've been doing this for years. I only worked for a company. After that, I was like, no, I need to be my own boss. You know, the story. And I was just like, oh, okay, hi. Uelap, you know? Fine. Chapeau. And then, what do you call this thing? Now he comes with so when he fetched me to go to the breakfast, he still came with the same car. But now when he came later on, the point in time after his meeting, and then we went to Ocean Basket to get me food, he came with the Legend 50, and I'm like, my favorite car. I'm like, okay, hi daddy, I'm not complaining, hi, fine. So at this point in time, guys, you know, most guys can scam you, and I'm just like, oh, okay, It's fine. Fine, we go and get Ocean Basket. After Ocean Basket, he drops me off. After dropping me off, he takes out another stack of cash. And then he gives me, I remember that day he gave me 4K. And I'm like, I think I'm gonna like this. I think I'm gonna like this. And then I'm like, so obviously me being me, I ask him, I'm like, what's the money for? Baby? Since he was like, my woman, I'm like, baby? He's like, no, you'll do whatever that you want with the money. I don't know, you're a lady. Ladies always need money. So that I'm not always going to be around. As you can see, I'm busy. And meetings, they tend to come up. So I don't want you to just, struggle with anything. If you just need anything, then you do have money. I'm like, cool, sharp. And then after that, the following day, no, I'm lying. I think it was 3 days after. He was still in Pretoria, but he was traveling in between Joburg, So I didn't see him much. And also from my side, and schedules were clashing because also from my side, I was busy. So I was like, and Shem, one thing I like, he was not demanding of my attention because he understood when I told him, I'm like, I'm not available. He was like, okay, cool. Be busy with your own life also. I'm like, thanks, babe. Fine. So 3 days after, 3 days after, he's like to me, he texts me, he's like, baby. I'm like, yes, my love. Because sis love, are you sure? Good baby, good my love. I mean, why not? I'm like, yes, baby. He's like, please send me your ID. I'm like, how? What for? Obviously. I'm like, what for? He's like, no, I'm gonna book you a flight. So I am already in what you might call this thing. I'm gonna fly out Iskale same day. Later on, I'm gonna fly out to the Eastern Cape on business, and then I want you to come with me. And then I'm like, I don't see a problem in that. I looked at my schedule. I'm like, I don't see a problem in that. He's like, yeah, send me your ID, so that ID number, so that I can be able to, my assistant can be able to book your flights. I'm like, assistant. I'm like, okay, cool. My assistant can book your flight, yada yada, and then I'll send you the details, and then you can start packing, and then I'll send you money. I'm like, it's where I'm going. Ku indota leyo ublessa udidi is where I'm going. Fine, pack my bags. I looked cute. I remember I went to the mall. I tried to get like a few things here and there, and then I packed, and then how off we go. And then so I asked my cousin, I'm like, yo cuz, can you please drive me to the airport? Yeah, this is happening. She was like, cool, ndase, anything for my enjoyment. Fine. Now I get to the airport. Fine, I land at East London. The airport is so small, but yeah, I land at East London. Fine. He had booked at what is this place? Kind of, what is that place? Yo, but that place was nice, guys. What is the place? I'll look it up through my pictures, and then I'll put it on. So I'll put up the pictures, but it was next to the ocean. Like, it had an ocean view. It was cute. So fine. And then he was like, so at that point in time, he had business that side. They were building construction, basically roads. Fine. And then he's like, no, obviously during the day, my love, I'm not gonna be here. So what I suggest you should do is that create an itinerary for yourself, activities as to what you're gonna do. There's not much to do here, but it's like, no, create an itinerary for yourself, and so you don't get bored. And then I will see you only later in the day. And I'm like, okay, baby. And then he's like, he gave me his card, till today I remember the pin. Not like I'm gonna go back and do anything about it, but yeah, gave me his card. He's like, no, you use my card for anything that you need. If you need to swipe, buy anything, here's my card. I'm like, thank you, daddy. Fine. how? Obviously, because I'm at East London and we are sharing a room. I mean, how, guys? 1 + 1 is 2. Moving on. Fine. And woo, okay. Moving on. Fine. Now, what do you call this thing? I remember I did a few things. I spent day at the beach. I went out to the mall. I did a bit of shopping. You know, I was that girl. I was just enjoying myself. That time, I was not even thinking of anything. Fine. Now, I think we spent 3 days there. Fine. Afterwards, I tell him, I'm like, hey, nigga, now things are getting a bit drastic for me. I need to go back. Like, I need to go back. And guys, this lighting is young stressor. I'm like, baby, so now I need to go back. I need to fly back to Pretoria because there's a few things that I need to also do. And he was like, no, that's fine. Cool. Now, and this guy, guys, he would shower me with money. Because I remember even coming back to Pretoria, flying back to Pretoria, because I asked my cousin, I'm like, cuz, can you please also fetch me again from the airport? And she's like, no problem, I will do that. When I just tell me what time your flight lands, plus it's not a long hour flight. She's like, no, just tell me what time your flight lands and wara and I'm like, okay, cool, I will do that. And Vela, she did fetch me from the airport. Fine. So now at that point in time, I remember before he dropped me off at the airport, I was like, can I please I'm like, no, here's your bank card, thank you. He's like, yo, I didn't expect you to use such little money, so keep it. I'm like, why am I keeping it? He's like, no, I'm gonna be here for 2 days. After 2 days, I need to fly to Cape Town. And I'm like, for how long are you gonna be at Cape Town? So I can't really remember, but I think it was almost a week at Cape Town because he had also another project that side. He's like, no, I need to go to Cape Town. There's a few things that I need to attend to, business related, and just keep my card. I have money on me. I have other cards in me. Just don't worry. I'm like, okay, that's cool, fine. We separate. Guys, you see the time he fetched me from the airport, ne? I was not embarrassed. It's only the second time when he dropped me, ne? There was just like a pool of people, where I was just like, oh my god, people are just looking at me funny to say, yo, Mwanyana, oh. And I'm just like, yo, and this guy is just holding my hand, he's kissing me, and he's like, my woman. And I'm like, daddy. He's like, yes, my woman. And I was so embarrassed, but nonetheless, I was just like, you know what, it's okay, it is what it is, fine. Now, what do you call this thing? I come back to Pretoria, I do my shandies. As I'm doing my shandies, I remember this guy. Yeah. And I won't lie, for the most part, this guy was really nice. Like, he was really nice. Like, I didn't even feel daddy. Like, I never felt daddy because in conversations we would talk properly. Like, that age difference, I never felt it because he was just, I think, you get those guys whereby they're old but young at heart. So I think it was those type of situations. So fine. What do you call this thing? Guys, I'm just gonna be looking down as I line my eyebrows. Fine. Now, I get back to Pretoria, I'm doing my shandies, and then as I'm in Pretoria, he's like, I'm gonna book you a flight coming to Cape Town. I'm like, hold up, No, obviously before him saying that, he's like, no, what are you done with all the things that you said you needed to do? I'm like, yeah, I'm done. So my life is not really hectic, you know, at this point in time. He's like, good shot. He's like, I'm gonna book you a flight to Cape Town. And I'm like, are you serious? He's like, yes, I'm gonna book you a flight to Cape Town because I'm already in Cape Town. So I'll just fetch you at the airport as per usual. And I'm like, oh, okay. Because I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't even, you know, flinch. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Fine. He booked me a flight to Cape Town. And then, so I remember I was at Cape Town for, I think it was 2 days. Yeah, it was 2 days. Well, it was not for long. For 2 days, at Cape Town for 2 days. And he booked the flight. So now, remember, I still have his card. And then he's like, with my card, please utilize it to buy anything that you want, from like your swimwear to anything that you want. He's like, and then he also extended, he's like, if you feel like you want more, and when I say more, I mean going maybe to Santin, Gucci, buying some things, please do so. I remember I laughed and I'm like, sir, how do I go to Gucci? That was me. That's just me. We're different. Honestly, we're different. That was just me. I'm like, how do I go to Gucci and swipe something for like a good 20 grand? That time, ki komba taxi. I'm this girl. Kingwanyana u. Kia komba. Like, I'm that girl. I'm like, it does not make sense to me. And then fine, we laughed about it. It was a joke. Oh, I need to refill. It was a joke. And we laughed about it. And then he's like, you know what? If you feel comfortable, if you don't want to buy it because you feel no, because you don't have a car, it's fine. I'm like, yeah, now that's me, honestly speaking. And it is what it is at this point in time. He's like, no, it's fine. Buy anything that you feel like you're gonna need for Cape Town. Fine. Hi. I went to buy a new drop mos. Guys, that's when I learned Gucci Indot. Munna. Like it's nothing. Then he's got nothing to lose. Because he knows Gucci, as he's busy working, he's busy making more money. So he's not even losing out on nothing. Fine. And then I go buy all the things that I need, even extra things, cool. And then I catch my flight. So this time around, remember last time around I told you, I'm like, I asked my cousin to take me to the airport. So this time around I was like, I'm not going to tell my basically no one anything. So he's like, so I asked him, I'm like, so previously I told him, I'm like, no, my cousin is gonna take me to the airport. So this time I told him, I'm like, no, baby, I think I'm gonna catch a bolt to go to the airport. And then he's like, you're not going to do that because it is not safe at all to go to the airport. Not to go to the airport, to use Bolt. I don't really like the idea. So what you're gonna do, you have two options. He's like, I'm gonna ask my driver to bring you to the airport, or you take the car and then it sleeps at the airport, because it's not like you're gonna be here for long. And I'm like, wow. I tell him, I'm like, you know what, the better option is for your driver to drop me off at the airport. Fine. The driver comes, very chilled guy, doesn't speak much, you know. I think he's just here for his job. But I'm in my mind, I'm like, I'm not the first girl, so let me not even try to feel special, because I'm not special at all. Fine. What do you call this thing? Get to the airport, fine, fly to what do you call this thing? To Cape Town. So now when I flew to Eastern Cape, I used Airlink. Now flying to Cape Town, business class, and I'm just like, this guy is just impressing. This guy is just impressing me. He's just impressing me. He's doing it. He's hitting the mark. I'm like, Kanti. That was where the danger was. Little did I know. The danger was there. Fine. Flew to what do you call this thing? I got to Eastern Cape, Cape Town. Fine. When I got to Cape Town, he was there waiting for me as per usual, and then fine. So now I didn't read much into it because you know what? I'm having the time of my life. Now when we're there, he's like, no, I'm gonna book you into a hotel that's really nearby everything, ne? So for your own convenience. And then for me, we booked because they also had another project in Cape Town, but this one, it was like a drive away from like the city, like Cape Town, you know, VNA. It was a drive, like it was a long drive. So he's like, no, I'm gonna be here with you till later on. We're gonna spend this time together. We go out and eat and everything, but for later, I'm just going to, I have to drive back. One of the guys that I work with, he's around, so we're gonna drive back together, and then you're going to stay here. Fine. And then we booked, he booked me at the kind of, what was that hotel? That is it, Radisson Blue, the one in VNA front, because I remember I was not far from VNA. Fine. Fine, he booked me at that. I was having the time of my life. That time I'm not posting because why? No one knows that I'm here. Not even my best friend. I said nothing to anyone. Fine. As I'm there, fine. I'm having a good time, you know. We go out, we eat. The time comes for him to leave. I go to the hotel. He drops me off at the hotel. Drops me off at the hotel. I decide, I'm like, you know what, I'm a bit tired, so I'm just going to sleep, and I will see the rest tomorrow. Sharp. Tomorrow when I wake up, he's like, no, fine, we talk in the morning, and then he's like, no, I will see you later on in the day, baby. I'm gonna come that side because there's also, they needed to fetch supplies, you know, equipment, clothing equipment for his workers. So he's like, no, he needs to collect that this side. So yeah, sharp, I will see you then. I'm like, okay, baby, not a problem. Fine. As he's doing, and I'm just, you know, at that point in time, I wasn't up to much really. So fine, he comes. So this time when he comes, he's like, no, I'm going to sleep here with you. I feel at that point in time, really, I didn't have a problem. I was just like, oh, okay, fine. Hey, little did I know. This guy is like, to me, he doesn't give me the full story. Fine, I know that he's gonna sleep here, so I went out. I remember that day I went out to VNA. I bought lingerie. You know, I need to impress, because why? He's impressing me, so he can't just impress alone. I must also impress. Fine, I go get lingerie, you know, bottle of champagne. Give her that girl, Owen. Give her that girl. Fine, when we get there, when he arrives, now he's like, no, I'm gonna come up. So because he's the one that booked the room, Obviously, he knows the room number, fine. So I don't know as to what the conversation was with the reception. So now there's a third person. When he walks in, now there's a third person, a girl, very beautiful, doll face, beautiful, big bums, small waist. That girl had nyash. Benyapi. Fine. Now, only then when the girl is there. So he debriefed the girl. He didn't debrief me. Only when he's there, he tells me, he's like, no, what do you call this thing? The card that you have on you, this girl is gonna sleep here tonight with us. And then tomorrow you and her are going to go to V&A and then do shopping and do whatever you like. That's when I knew. I'm like, all the money that he's been spending in Dota, when he spends money on you, just do not even flinch and feel special. Don't feel special because that money, he has it 15 times in his bank account. Don't ever feel special. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, yes, she's going to sleep with us, and I thought we should just be spontaneous and have a threesome. I'm like, with whose vagina? I'm like, with whose vagina are you going to be spontaneous? You are going to be spontaneous with whose vagina? I'm like, no. I'm like, one thing about me, I'm ready to pack my bags and... I told them, I'm like, one thing about me, I'm ready to pack my bags and go to Pretoria and fly back to Pretoria. I'm ready. I don't care if I get there at what, a 3 a.m. flight, 12 a.m. flight. I don't care. He's like, no, don't be too dramatic, it's gonna be nice. Yeah, I can see, Gucci, this is your first time that you're gonna have a threesome, but these things, they are there, they do happen, so, don't be scared. And I'm like, yay. That is not what I'm doing. Already, I've compromised myself by my enjoyments over old men. Now I must compromise even more with what? A threesome. And that girl's like, no, don't be scared, Now she's thinking about the money, obviously. No, don't be scared. I'm like, I will never. I will never. I remember walking down to the receptionist. I'm like, ma'am, Bona, I don't know how, but can you please get me a ride to go to the airport? I need to leave this place because what the actual fuck? Obviously, he came down to me as I was talking to the receptionist, and he interjected into the conversation, and what do you call this thing? And then pulled me aside. And then he's like, please don't be dramatic. I'm like, no, I'm not being dramatic, but like, you didn't debrief me first and foremost. You didn't tell me, Gucci, when we're coming here to Cape Town, we're going to do spontaneous things. What's that? I don't do that. Like, I don't do that. Fine. I pointed out everything. I literally, at that point in time, I called him out. I was like, I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm not going to do that. I don't care what you say. I don't care how you feel. If your hormones, when they say, I want to be with 2 ladies tonight, you can go and surely fetch her friend or something. Yo, I was speaking. And then he concluded, he's like, you know what, because I see this does not make you feel comfortable. Ooh. Okay. I think I made a mess. Okay. And then he's like, I see this does not make you feel comfortable, so I suggest that I leave you here, and then I book your flight back for tomorrow, and then I'll see you in Pretoria. I'm like, sharp. When I that option, I will never turn it down. I was like, Bona, sharp. And he did exactly that. And I'm just like, you know what, first and foremost, I'm not going to compromise myself till that point. For what? For money. Please. please, 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 please. Fine. I went back up, and then that girl just looked at me. Obviously, I don't know where they went to. And then he sent me the details of the flight. I gave him back his card. I gave him back his card, and then that was that. And then I flew back to Pretoria. Not Pretoria, but OR Tambo. Then I came back, and then I was like, you know what? I ain't gangami. Fine. Now, we were not talking. We only spoke, but it was not speaking. It was like an argument. And then, because I told him, I'm like, you know what? I don't like how you behaved. You know, we could have, spoken about this. We could have been adults, not just you now throwing me in the deep end, coming with a girl and expecting me to just say yes. I don't know what you expected. I thought maybe you thought maybe just putting me in the deep end, I will shake and actually give in. I'm not going to do that. One thing about me, I have a backbone, but thinking because all the money that he had given me, I had not used it. So I was, what you might call this thing? I was ready to book my own flight. Fine. Hi. And then he's like, no, don't take it like that. I'm sorry. I'm like, no, it's cool. And then he's like, can I please have your... Remember, he always gave me cash and what do you call this thing? He gave me his card. So he never had my banking details. And then he's like, no, can I please have your banking details? Maybe I didn't even flinch. I gave them to him fast. And then he sent me 10K. He's like, no, I'm sorry. I'm like, your apology get 10K. I'm like, Lauka, apologize. I'm not going to do it. Please respect me next time because I don't know. You say I am your woman, but you are doing snacks things. And then he's like, no, I'm sorry. He sent me 10K. And I was like, thanks. Plus that 10K waiting, it came at a time whereby I needed the money. I had to do a few things. I want to fast. Sharp. Until the day he came back to Pretoria. When he came back to Pretoria, he came to see me. And when he came to see me, he's like, sorry about what he did. He'll never do it again. He's so good. I was not very comfortable. Wara wara, wara wara, wara wara. You know, because I'm one to forgive. And I'm like, you just sent me 10K, which covered my problems. Why will I not say, baby, it's okay? Please. Fine. And we moved on from that. Actually, we went out to eat. And knows these secluded places. Hey, these very nice secluded places. Get a private location. Kind of was that rich. I forgot the name, but it's in the east. And then we went there. We went to eat, and then it was there where I called it off. I'm like, you know what, Nem? As much as I like you, because I remember throughout our meal, he started telling me, he's like, no, you're my woman and I want to give you everything, you know. Plus I see good see how so good you see as much as you have a bite to you, but you stand your ground. I like how you stand your ground, and you know, all these things. And I'm just like listening to him. I'm like, oh, okay, baby. And then he's like, no, now I think we should, you know, escalate things. Oh, but now I think it's been, guys, it has not been long since me knowing daddy. He's like, no, now we should, he's like, now I feel like we should escalate things. You being able to have access to my house. That point in time, he has a baby girl. He has a child, a baby girl, very cute, very beautiful, and no wife. I'm like, oh, makes sense why you're living your life like this, having 3 sons in Cape Town. And then he's like, no, be my woman. I think now we should now escalate Guti. The bedroom. Now we should not use Ichaslo Mkwenyan. I'm like, hold it. Right there was a Waimosha. It's like, yeah, I mean, like, you're my woman, we'll go test, and we'll just have to do it for you. And I'm just like, I'm not having it. What you're telling me? I'm not having it. It was there and there. The time I realized, because throughout all the events that happened between me and him, the time we're together, I just realized a lot. I realized a lot, and I was like, you know what, no, sorry. I'm like, you know what, I'm not going to really entertain this. Before him, I was just living my life perfectly fine, and I think already he has contributed to my bank balance enough till this point in time, so I don't really need him. He's not a need to my life. And I was just like, and I told him, and he was sad about it, because I remember after we did that, obviously he did not delete my numbers. He kept on calling to say, dude, can I see you? And then I think I saw him twice afterwards, and then I was like, nah, it's not gonna work out. And then he was sad about it. Plus, I know from where I stay, 2 blocks away, 2 streets away, he has offices, because it's just situated everywhere, basically, almost. And then there was a time I remember I was walking to Pick and Pay. I needed some few things there. And then I saw him. He was driving the Legend 50. And then he saw me. So obviously he hooted and then opened up his window. And then I saw him. He's like, and then he pulled over. Obviously he came to pull over. He's like, can I still talk to you? Like, come on. I mean, I don't like how things ended off. And I was just like, you know what? It's just not going to work out. Like, let's just leave it. Like, already a lot is going on. Like, it's not going to work out. So yeah, but nonetheless, with this guy. But I just wanted to give you full scope, full story of what had happened, how it happened, and why I also came to the conclusion to say, you know what, I can't really continue with this thing. And yeah, and then until today, because on Instagram, on WhatsApp, I blocked him. We have each other on Telegram, but yeah, we just had a mini conversation. What? Not so long ago, but I was just like, temptation. One thing about you, you can just deposit money into my bank account and I melt, and I'm just like, hi baby, how are you, daddy? But I'm not gonna do that, because I'm in a relationship and I'm happy as fuck. So yeah, but nonetheless, also guys, this is the final look. I hope you enjoyed it. If you watched till this far, thank you so much. Please don't also forget to subscribe, like the video. Next time, guys.